Now was the day departing, and the air embrowned with shadows, from their toils released all animals on earth. And I alone prepared myself the conflict to sustain, both of sad pity and that perilous road, which my unerring memory shall retrace. O Muses, O high genius, now vouchsafe your aid. O mind, that all I saw hast kept safe in a written record, here thy worth and eminent endowments come to proof. I thus began: Bard, thou who art my guide, consider well if virtue be in me sufficient, ere to this high enterprise thou trust me. Thou hast told that Silvia's sire, yet clothed in corruptible flesh, among the immortal tribes had entrance, and was there sensibly present. Yet if heaven's great Lord, almighty foe to ill, such favours showed in contemplation of the high effect, both what and who from him should issue forth, it seems in reason's judgment well deserved. Sith he of Rome, and of Rome's empire wide, in heaven's imperial height was chosen sire, both which, if truth be spoken, were ordained and stablished for the holy place, where sits who to great Peter's sacred chair succeeds. He from his journey in thy song renowned learned things that to his victory gave rise, and to the papal robe. In after times the chosen vessel also travelled there, to bring us back assurance in that faith which is the entrance to salvation's way. But I, why should I there presume? Or who permits it? Not Aeneas I, nor Paul. Myself I deem not worthy, and none else will deem me. I, if on this voyage then I venture, fear it will in folly end. Thou, who art wise, better my meaning know'st than I can speak. As one who unresolves what he hath late resolved, and with new thoughts changes his purpose, from his first intent removed, e'en such was I on that dun coast, wasting in thought my enterprise, at first so eagerly embraced. If right thy words I scan, replied that shade magnanimous, thy soul is by vile fear assailed, which oft so overcasts a man that he recoils from noblest resolution, like a beast at some false semblance in the twilight gloom. That from this terror thou mayst free thyself, I will instruct thee why I came, and what I heard in that same instant, when for thee grief touched me first. I was among the tribe who rest suspended, when a dame, so blessed and lovely, I besought her to command, called me. Her eyes were brighter than the star of day, and she, with gentle voice and soft, angelically tuned, her speech addressed. O courteous shade of Mantua, thou whose fame yet lives, and shall live long as nature lasts, a friend not of my fortune but myself, on the wide desert in his road has met hindrance so great that he through fear has turned. Now much dread lest he past help have strayed, and I be risen too late for his relief, from what in heaven of him I heard. Speed now, and by they eloquent persuasive tongue, and by all means for his deliverance meet, assist him. So to me will comfort spring. I, who now bid thee on this errand forth, am Beatrice. From a place I come revisited with joy. Love brought me thence, who prompts my speech. When in my master's sight I stand, thy praise to him I oft will tell. She then was silent, and I thus began: O lady, by whose influence alone mankind excels whatever is contained within that heaven which hath the smallest orb, so thy command delights me, that to obey, if it were done already, would seem late. No need hast thou further to speak thy will, yet tell the reason why thou art not loath to leave that ample space where to return thou burn'st for this centre here beneath. She then, since thou so deeply wouldst inquire, I will instruct thee briefly why no dread hinders my entrance here. Those things alone are to be feared whence evil may proceed, none else, for none are terrible beside. I am so framed by God, thanks to his grace, that any sufferance of your misery touches me not, nor flame of that fierce fire assails me. In high heaven a blessed dame resides, who mourns with such effectual grief that hindrance which I send thee to remove, that God's stern judgment to her will inclines. To Lucia calling her, she thus bespake, Now doth thy faithful servant need thy aid, and I commend him to thee. At her words sped Lucia, of all cruelty the foe, and coming to the place where I abode, seated with Rachel, her of ancient days, she thus addressed me, Thou true praise of God, Beatrice, why is not thy succour lent to him, who so much loved thee, as to leave, for thy sake, all the multitude admires? Dost thou not hear how pitiful his wail, nor mark the death which in the torrent flood, swollen mightier than a sea, him struggling holds? Ne'er among men did any with such speed haste to their profit, flee from their annoy, as, when these words were spoken, I came here, down from my blessed seat, trusting the force of thy pure eloquence, which thee, and all who well have marked it, into honor brings. When she had ended, her bright beaming eyes, tearful, she turned aside, whereat I felt redoubled zeal to serve thee. As she willed, thus am I come. I save thee from the beast, who thy near way across the goodly mount prevented. What is this comes o'er thee then? Why dost thou hang back? Why in thy breast harbor vile fear? Why hast not courage there, and noble daring, since 3 maids so blessed thy safety plan, in the court of heaven, and so much certain good my words forebode? As florets by the frosty air of night, bent down and closed, when day has blanched their leaves, rise all unfolded on their spiry stems, so was my fainting vigor new restored, and to my heart such kindly courage ran, that I, as one undaunted, soon replied, O full of pity she who undertook my succour, and thou kind who didst perform so soon her true behest. With such desire thou hast disposed me to renew my voyage, that my first purpose fully is resumed. Lead on, one only will is in us both. Thou art my guide, my master thou, and Lord. So spake I, and when he had onward moved, I entered on the deep and woody way.